How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the Liberty Hour, streaming through Spreaker Studio, the 16 Jackson AJ1 Twitter account. We are back here, and I was just talking with Kendrick. He was talking to us about how the band formed a Pale Umbra, the band he's a part of now, and I was asking him about decision making and differences and with him and Simon, who are the core members, who makes like the most decisions, or if it's 50-50. So I'll go ahead and reiterate my question, then I'll let you answer again. So when it comes to who's going to be the new members in the band, or who's trying out for that, or when it comes to decisions and production, explain to me how that all gets worked out. Are you guys more 50-50 on that? Does one person take care of one thing more than the other? Explain to me how that all works.
Well, specifically with the three new members we got this semester, that was pretty much all me. I think in terms of decision making like that, I'm definitely more the go-getter. I'm more the trying to get stuff done. I really had to push to get even just this mastering stuff done, to get the EP out. I really had to push for that. Because one thing is that Simon he was a music major. He's now a film major, so he's just not as involved in the music that's happening at school as much anymore. Mm-hmm. So I don't see him around the music building as much. Pretty much, I only see him because we rehearse on this last semester we would rehearse Monday nights at 10 p.m. until 11 p.m. Which absolutely sucks, but that's the only time we could meet. And that's pretty much the only time I would see him because he wasn't around the music building anymore. So that said, I've been taking the reins a little more, I would say. And additionally, I wrote most of the songs, mm-hmm. So I would say it's at least partially more on my side of decision making. And that could just be more of a personality thing. Maybe that's just because I happen to be the one writing the songs. Because Simon also has his own projects. He's with another quote unquote band. I think it's just him and one other dude. And then he's got his own solo stuff. That's he makes it all in Logic, I'm pretty sure. So he's got his own projects as well. He's he just also happens to be I guess the core member or a core member of this band as well.
Gotcha. So obviously, you guys put out your EP, a few months back, and I wanted to talk about because you got a pretty good amount of plays, not just on SoundCloud but from your Spotify. There's a few people that I know of, I myself, but there's a few other people I know of that have bought your stuff, and I just want to ask you, how has marketing gone when it comes to your guys' work? How have you been able to get your name out there as a band, to get some face recognition? To where you guys get more clicks and people and more listens to people? Just explain to me how that process has been for marketing your guys' work.
Well, I think most of the plays, if I understand correctly, just I talked about it on Instagram. That's the only social media that I use. And I know a few. It's actually kind of funny. I remember. Just walking, and this person who I hadn't seen in a very long time, from freshman year or something, he was like, "Oh, hey, I listened to your album. It was really good." And I was like, "Oh, thanks. I didn't even know that you knew about that." So, I think the main way it got around, at least APU and the people I know, back in Lincoln. I mean, most people who listened to it were already people that I know. I don't think I reached a ton of new people. But I'm okay with that because, I get that this music is not, I wouldn't say it has the capacity to go super mainstream or anything. So that's not the goal of this kind of music. This really is just a passion project, basically. It's another outlet for my composition because pretty much everything else that I write during the school year is for projects. And that's not a bad thing because, as a, professional composer arranger, that's how you make a living. You get commissions. People give you specific tasks to do. You have a deadline. You do it. You get your paycheck, and you go move on to the next thing. But it's also good to not just let it be that. I feel I don't know. The times playing with the band and writing music for the band were very often very relaxing or just like fun, like it's just, I mean, it's called a passion project for a reason. I'm not doing it. I don't plan on getting rich,
Right.
from this music. I'm doing it because
You
this
want to.
is, huh?
You want to.
Pretty much. I'm doing it just because this is the music I happen to be writing for nothing in particular other than basically for me, and for people maybe who I know, who I think might like it. But ultimately, it's kind of for me. It's a plus if, people that I know happen to like it. And I did get a lot of really good feedback on it, whether that was text or people in person or, whatever. So I got a lot of good feedback on it, and I was really happy about that.
Yeah, and I don't think too with like all bands that having a big audience is the biggest goal, or I don't think it should be for everybody. I think if you only have even 100 to 200 listeners or people that listen to your stuff, but they're people that are really engaged and care about it. I think that's much more important than having a 1 to 2,000, but people that aren't going to be as consistent by listening to your stuff. I think by having a more direct audience that obviously you get better feedback because those people are tuning in, and how to modify your work in any way, shape, or form if you feel like that something is lacking on your end. But also you understand where they're coming from, and what they like, or something that they feel like you could improve on as well.
Yeah, and like again, I guess Sorry, I kind of went on a tangent. I
Oh, you're
guess
good.
back from your question about marketing, but I think another main way that that's going to happen is by going out there and playing, because um, live music is just more fun. Oftentimes, you can like feel the energy of the band if they have energy. Granted,
Mm-hmm.
and just open for some bigger bands. Maybe be a part of a little 5 band lineup or something. Just kind of whatever you can do. Get yourself out there a little more. And depending on the crowd or the venue, maybe everyone will love it. Maybe half the crowd will love it. Maybe a few people will love it. Who knows?
Speaking about gigs, how difficult have you? Is there any outlet or way that you have been able to around the area down there in Azusa where you've been able to play in front of an audience? How does that work? Is there any way down there that you're able to kind of get your name out in that respect by any chance?
I assume you don't mean you're not counting things on campus, right?
Oh no, I'll count things on campus. Yeah.
Well, so I guess I'll speak first to the on-campus thing. Like everyone's required to be in some ensembles, and every ensemble is required to do at least one performance. Um, the 2 ensembles I was in full ensembles, not counting my own band. The 2 that did the most performances were the gospel choir, which I played drums for, and the wind ensemble, which I played percussion for. So there was, anywhere from 4 to 6 performances each semester for each of those groups,
Mm-hmm.
And then I had 2 other ensembles, which I had 1 performance for. And I wouldn't say those get your name out there super well. Now, in terms of gigs that are not, I guess, technically part of APU, and gigs that you actually get paid for, because you don't get paid to be in these ensembles other than scholarship money. So I do get that, but you don't get paychecks or whatever, or Venmo,
Mm-hmm.
I did have about 4 actual off-campus paid gigs this semester, and 3 of them were just the normal drummer couldn't make it. We know that you're a competent drummer, Kendrick. Can you fill in? We'll pay you $100. Yeah, sure. So the first one was I played a little jazz gig at some church, for after the service when people are kind of just walking around and talking and eating food, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So the normal drummer for that couldn't make it, so I was asked if I could fill in. Another one was I filled in for a rehearsal for some musical at a high school because the drummer couldn't be there for a little bit of it. So I sight read, part of the Little Mermaid musical for $100. Another one was a jazz gig. It was kind of the same deal as the first one. The fourth one was not subbing in for someone. It was someone I knew from gospel choir contacted me because she had been contacted about playing some church services for this church that's near APU, and did that as well. So.
Cool. You actually, that gets into a question I was going to ask you, is because, obviously, and you told me, before the podcast, you have 19 units for, school this semester. You're working 10 to 15 hours a week. Most college students, obviously are really busy and, have at least somewhat of a schedule like that. But obviously, going above and beyond, you having your own band, and I'm sure, other members too, they have busy schedules. How difficult is it to find time to actually record or work or make music with the members of your band? How have you managed to be able to do that?
To find time to rehearse.
Yeah, correct.
To rehearse. Okay. I think I mentioned it earlier. For this semester, we were meeting to rehearse Monday nights at 10 at night. Because that's the only time that worked for all of our schedules. And that is really late, but I don't know. For me personally, in terms of time management, is that what you mean? Or
time management.
Honestly, starting at somewhere near the half point of the semester, my typical bedtime was between 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. because my days would often finally end. And by day, I mean classes and ensembles would end anywhere from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. pretty much every day except Friday. And so, I could get back at night somewhere between 9 p.m. and 11 p.m. And then I start my homework, mm-hmm. And I'm up to 2 or 3 doing that because I have 19 units. And it was hard to get used to because I remember my very first semester there, I was double majoring in music and honors humanities. And I dropped it because I was up till 3 every night. I was like, oh my goodness, I can't do this. And then, I was basically doing that again this year. But at least it was all music related.
I was going to say, you're really glad now you dropped that, aren't you?
Yeah. And the honors thing was there was a scholarship, which was nice. It wasn't a huge scholarship, but it was something. But it's just, I don't know. I didn't see it was super worth it ultimately. It's not going to help me get a music job in pretty much any way. Mm. It's a totally separate thing from music. So, and my kind of main goal for going to college here is obviously one, to become better at my main things, those being composing / arranging and then drumming. Those are my two main things, I would say. Getting better at those and making meaningful connections that will lead to work in the future.
Yeah.
Honors, I didn't really see it doing that very much. So, and it was just not super worth it to me.
Well, still, so, what you've been able to do, even with just the one major, how busy you have been, when what you've been able to do outside of that is just pretty darn phenomenal from everything I've seen and what you've told me. I'll go ahead and introduce it in this part, and this will lead into part 3. But Kendrick's group, A Pale Umbra, actually did have an article written about them on a website called Come Here Floyd. It had to do with pretty much a lot of indie bands. I think they have 4 or 5 of them that are mentioned on the website. And I'll go ahead, and I think I have enough time to read this, and then I'll get into how it all came about with Kendrick here in the next part. Hidden fees is an exacting method of bullying and notes of universes patently downtrodden to a feeling of a certain past. The succinct method of jazz-induced indie dream pop of an extravaganza is scrumptious to say the least. The guitar works along with the communication with the expert drumming, ravages the mind all in good ways. Kendrick Haskins and Simon Welch make up the core of this hit band, and when they play, the flowers in that dream field seem to burst with color as their melancholic expositions face one of darker clouds just around the corner of our lives.